Hey guys, what's going on? It's Giga. So I recently competed in TK's Meta Weekly with Scareclaw. I think this deck honestly still has a lot of potential. Yeah, let's just get into it. So this first replay is pretty much the same deck that I played in the weekly. So Scareclaw with Adventure Engine, a little bit of PK, Phantom Knight in there, as well as the DPE engine and Artifact. Alright, so first off, this combo can be done with any Scareclaw plus extender, so we're going to go straight into Lightheart, which gets you the field spell, which gets you any Scareclaw. We're going to go into Right Heart right now, and then get Scareclaw Arrival. So this particular hand, my extender is Vsauce, however you want to say it. A lot of people like to call Vsauce. Then we can use Vsauce and Lightheart to go into Dark, because we need 3 darks and essentially to go into Bardiche. So you can actually just go into Bardiche with just 1 card, aim to abuse that. Because Bardiche essentially can get you 2 material on board, as you're seeing now. That can get you into Artifact Dagda. And then we're going to use our Scarecrow Arrival to get back Right Heart. And then we have Artifact Dagda activate. So my opponent actually did play it smart. They held their hand traps for a while now. I do think you should, if you know what you're going up against, you probably should imperm the Verte Anaconda rather than Dagda. And they also held Ash for a long time too. It's also fine to hit Bardiche as well. So then I go into Anaconda. 2 monsters left over on the board. What do? You make Verte Anaconda when that happens. And then go into Phoenix Enforcer. So I think this kind of shows what the deck is capable of. But even though I got hand trapped a couple times, you can still end on something. I can still end on DPE. So I think that's where the strength of the deck really comes into play. Now, what if you don't have an extender? What do you do with just 1 card? Well, just 1 card you can actually still accomplish a lot. 1 card makes Bardiche, and then with Bardiche you would do the same thing where you would set Shade Brigadine, then you would send Ancient Cloak, and then using Ancient Cloak's effect to get Silent Boots, as I did before. Pretty much the same thing. You would have Bardiche plus 2 materials on board, and then you can use the Shade Brigadine to go into Link Spider, which we're playing. Then Link Spider plus the Silent Boots makes Verte Anaconda, which makes DPE, and then you can use Silent Boots to search Fogblade. So with just 1 card, you get DPE and Fogblade set up, which I think is pretty good. And then just plus any extender gets you into the Scythe block as well. So I think it's really good, personally. I think more people should experiment with this. So my opponent is playing Numeron. I've checked later, and they just, unfortunately that RDP didn't actually accomplish anything here, but they did kind of brick. If they did actually not break and drew the Numeron field spell, then might have been in trouble. So the follow-up turn, I want to make try hard and OTK. Now, so this is sometimes awkward to do. Actually, I did want to consider this as well. The most awkward thing to deal with, I think, is that Bardiche is unable to be used as a link material. In that case, you can't use Bardiche to go into tryhard. You have to get him off the field somehow. But I think usually that would be DPE, and actually I thought about, on my turn, is using DPE to pop both Verte and Bardiche to play around Super Poly anyway. I thought that was going to be a decent idea, but I decided against it. I would have also played around Lava Golem. I'll let this finish out. 3 times, you go for lethal. Alrighty, so here is the deck list. It is a little bit modified, as I mentioned, from the one I played in the Meta Weekly. I'm just going to quickly go through the card by card, explain a little bit of my choices, a bit more in depth, and yeah, we can jump right into it. So first off, we're playing Disc Commander as one of our Fusion Destiny targets. Now you can choose to play the Malicious and Denier engine instead, but you would be playing 2 Malicious and 1 Denier instead of playing 1 Disc Commander and 1 Dasher. And I think this deck is already playing enough bricks as it is. Some of them are more of soft bricks rather than hard bricks. I wouldn't say there's a lot of hard bricks per se, but I just think I'd rather have that little bit more consistency, because honestly I don't think the deck really needs the extra bodies on the follow-up. The 2 cards can probably just suffice just enough, because you can accomplish a lot with just 1 Scareclaw, so I don't think you need to play the Mally engine. But if you would like to, you definitely could try it out. If you are doing the Mally engine, you might want to play like Access Code Talker or something to convert into. Next we're on 3 Effect Veiler. I did switch this out from 3 Infinite Permanence because of the anti-synergy with Shade Brigadine. That being said, I really don't think if you want to play Infinite Permanence, it still might not be that bad, because you're only really going to be using Shade Brigadine going first anyway, and you're really only going to be using Infinite Impermanence when you're going second, so I don't think they conflict that much. And Infinite Impermanence is definitely way better for going second than Effect Veiler is. It's kind of up to you how you want to do it. I am testing out the triple Effect Veiler now. Next we're on 3 Drill and Lockbird. This can be Max C if you want instead, but I think Drill and Lockbird is just pretty good in this format and is probably just better than Max C for mostly the reason that Fluanderies exists. If Fluanderies didn't exist, you would probably be more incentivized to play Max C, but Drill and Lockbird does stop a lot of the meta. Next we're on 1 the Phantom Knights of Ancient Cloak, part of our Phantom Knight engine. This is going to be your send off of Bardiche. Next we're on 1 the Phantom Knights of Silent Boots. Is really good because it's a free body on board, which help us mix our link plays as you saw in the replay. We're also on 3 Ash Blossom, just overall the best hand trap, and you kind of need to play 3 because we do lose pretty hard to Maxi, so don't want to just insta-lose the game, or have less chances of insta-losing the game at least. Next we're on the limited Water Enchantress of the Temple. Obviously, the Adventure Engine is really, really good in this deck. We don't need to use our normal summon effect. If you draw any Scareclaw plus 2 more Scareclaw / extenders, you can actually work Cherubini into your combo, which is something I hadn't included in the list I played in the Meta Weekly. But I think that it's definitely really good just being able to access the Adventure Engine like that. So definitely worth including. Basically what you would do, right after I make Dark, I use Dark and Reichheart to go into Bardiche. So what you would do instead is you would use the Lightheart and the Reichheart to make Dark, and then you would try to use 2 level 3 Scareclaws to go into Cherubini, and then you would send Water Enchantress. And then from there, you would use those 2 to go into Bardiche. Next we're on our Scareclaws. I am playing the max amount of Scareclaws. You could argue to play fewer and play maybe some different kinds of extenders, or maybe cut ones for another arrival. It's up to you, really. I do think that generally drawing a lot of Scareclaws is good, so I do want to play the max amount. So I'm on 3 Astra. This one lets your Tryhard in the extra monster zone make extra attacks based on the number of Scareclaws you have in defense position, so it can help OTK. Next is Balone, or Baloney, however you want to say it. And this particular one lets you Pierce. Next we're on 3 Acro. This one helps you gain attack points. Well, it gives you your Scareclaw and extra monster zone extra attack points based on the number of defense position monsters you have. So something to note is that Astra only works with Scareclaw monsters that you have with different names, whereas Acro can be any defense position monster you control, and they can stack, whereas Astra cannot stack. So that's something to keep in mind. Next, we're on Ripple Reichheart. This particular card is just so amazing in this deck. It does like pretty much everything. It can be a starter if you draw it. It's also an amazing combo piece. My favorite thing to do with this card is if you draw the Adventure Engine, what you'll do is, you know, go into your Adventure Engine first, summon that token, and summon Water and Griffin Rider in defense position, then summon a Scareclaw, do your normal Scareclaw combo, and then from that position, when you get to Reichheart in the combo, you'll have 3 defense position monsters on the field, and then you get to draw a card in addition to your search. It just feels like resolving Sky Striker, mobilize, engage. All right, next is our Artifact Engine. We're playing 1 Artifact Scythe, degenerate card, but because it's legal, we're going to play it, as well as 1 Artifact Lancia for the Flu matchup. Next we're on the 1 Dasher, as mentioned as part of our Fusion Destiny package. Next we're on the 1 Visas Starfrost. You definitely can cut this if you want to, or if you just really don't want to play as many Ultra Rares. I can definitely see that. I do think it's definitely worth playing for the sole fact that it can help you extend a little bit, and we're definitely hurting on extenders. That being said, it can be a little bit cloggy. On the 1 Wandering Griffin Rider, part of the adventure package, as mentioned, just really, really good. It helps insulate your plays if you draw into it early on, as well as can insulate your Artifact Scythe from resolving on your opponent's turn, so it's just really good. 1 Foolish Burial, really, I consider that's part of the adventure package. You can send like maybe a Phantom Knight card if you wanted to, if you want to get that engine going for whatever reason, or you could send a Scareclaw if you have a rival and you have no other way to get to Scareclaw engine. So could come up. Next run 1 Rhoda. I don't know why people aren't really playing this in Scareclaw. I do think the engine's probably consistent enough on its own, like you don't have to play this, but I do like that little bit of added consistency and, you know, give my opponent something to ash as well. Next run, the 1 Fusion Destiny, obviously part of the Fusion Destiny package, because it's called Fusion Destiny, so... Next run, the 2 Rite of Aramis, part of the adventure package as mentioned. Next run, 2 Scareclaw, Arrival. Now, I kind of going back and forth on playing 3 of this or not. I do think that maybe 2 is the correct number for this deck, but I'm not sure. It is an extender that, you know, doesn't have any other purpose really. Like, you need to draw another Scareclaw, so I kind of don't like that I have to draw another Scareclaw. Honestly, I think maybe people, if you do want to play an extra Arrival, maybe consider playing Monster Reborn because it's more generally useful. But I do find that sometimes I run out of targets for right cards, so if you want to play that 3rd Arrival, or maybe you want to play the other Scareclaw quick play spell that is more usually played in the pure build, you could try that. The 1 Dracoback, part of the adventure package. 1 Rite of Aramis gets you to Dracoback plus Wandering River. It's 2 interruptions and just can completely destroy your opponent. Either insulating your plays going first or going second can just help bait out negations and whatnot, so just really good. Next, we're on the 2 Primitive Planet. I did think about 3. You could argue 3. I think generally 2 is the correct amount to play. In a pinch, it can like at least help you accomplish, you know, some board presence if you only draw this and don't draw any other Scareclaw. Next, run 1 Fateful Adventure, part of the adventure engine. Really good overall. Next, we're on to Called by the Grave, staple card, need to play it. And then to finish out our Phantom Knight package, we're on the Phantom Knights of Shade Brigandine, and we're on the Fog Blade. Obviously, we need Shade Brigandine as part of our combo. Once we get into Bardiche, Bardiche represents an additional 2 bodies, essentially, so you could argue to play a little bit more Phantom Knight cards. You could essentially play 2 Fog Blades, maybe another Silent Boots for if you ever draw one of the Phantom Knight cards, then you can just get an extra Fog Blade onto the field. Alrighty, so that's the main deck, so here's the extra deck. We have the 1 Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. It's still really good, popping a card every turn, quick effect speed, on-targeting. Run the 1 Baron. I don't know how I feel about this. Like, it's obviously Baron's really good. You could argue to cut this and Vsauce, however you want to say it, if you really want to, and play some other stuff. Next, we're on the Zeus package. So we have Fortune Tune, Counter Magician, and Zeus himself. So you can get a format material Zeus by going into Fortune Tune, attacking, going into Downer Magician, and then ranking up into Zeus afterwards. I have seldomly gotten into this, but I do think it is decent. So it's kind of up to you whether or not you want to play this or not, but you could cut this and maybe put some access code shenanigans and some nightmares in if you want. Up to you, really. I might end up doing it, we'll see. Alrighty, we're also on the 1 Baguska. Just in a pinch, you can make it. Something to remember also is that the Shade Brigandine is a level 4, so Shade Brigandine plus a right card that you can also bring out with Arrival gets you to the rank 4. We're on the 1 Link Spider for the situation where you just draw 1 Scareclaw, nothing else, so you can at least make Bardiche and go into a DPE and get a Fog Blade as your opening turn. It's just 1 Scareclaw, so you do need Link Spider for that. Next, we're on the 2 Lightheart. 1 Lightheart for the opening combo, 1 Lightheart for the following turn combo. The Link ones are just really broken, especially when they search too. Like, come on now, just ridiculous. We're on the 1 Cherubini, the new addition we mentioned earlier, can help you get into the adventure engine, or can help you perhaps get a Scareclaw. We're also on the 1 Artifact Dagda, part of the Scythe Lock. Any 2 monsters get you there, it's just ridiculous. Speaking of any 2 monsters getting you somewhere, here's Preta Verte Anaconda. Obviously, just really good. Gets you into the free DPE. We're on the 1 Dark. You do need to play any Link to Dark that you can make with Lightheart and any of the Earth Scareclaws, but I personally prefer Dark. She is my Dark Link 2 of choice, but other iterations might be like Barricade Board Blocker, for example. Next, we're on the 1 Bardiche, the Heart and Soul of the deck. The thing we're trying to abuse is that 1 card gets us this, and this monster is pretty good. So again, make sure you're aware that it cannot be used as Link material. And we're on the 1 Tri-Heart. Again, you might want to play 2 just to help out with OTKing in some positions. If you do want to do that, I would maybe just recommend taking out the Zeus engine and maybe putting like access code a Tri-Heart and a maybe Nightmare Unicorn or something like that. In terms of ultra rares that you might want to consider cutting, this is a pretty expensive deck. Thanks Konami for making Scareclaw so expensive. I don't know, I wouldn't really recommend this deck that much if you're concerned too much about ultra rares, to be honest. Really up there, but I already had the Adventure Engine and I was very interested in Scareclaw, so it didn't really bother me that much. But obviously you can, you know, replace your hand traps with like Failure Ash Blossom or other things. You don't have to play the Adventure Engine if you don't have it already. As many Rykart, I guess you could cut some. So that's the deck. I definitely encourage everyone to give it a try. I think this deck still has a bit of untapped potential, as I mentioned before, so please give it a shot and let me know if you have any deck suggestions, ideas, etc. And of course, remember to like, comment, subscribe, ask any questions below if you have the deck. Be happy to chat about it, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.